That afternoon, when Bella arrived home, she could tell something was fishy. She could hear conversations and she knew definitely that her mother was not at home. As Bella walked into the bedroom, she saw the most surprising sight. There was her identical twin sister. Stella was in bed with her new boyfriend, James. As James saw her, he was very shocked. He immediately knew he had been tricked. On the other hand, Bella was very angry. "What are you doing with my boyfriend?" she demanded. Stella too was surprised. She wasn't expecting Bella to be home so soon. This unexpected return had ruined her plans. Bella and Stella got into a very serious argument, as Bella was tired of Stella meddling in her life and trying to steal her happiness. "Didn't I warn you to stay away from him? What the hell are you trying to do?" Bella demanded, her voice angry and sharp. "Why must he be yours? Who made it so that you can have him? I like him too." Stella shot back at her sister. In a fit of rage, Bella picked up a knife that was just laying on the table and tried to warn Stella. Stella would not back down. James, seeing the whole drama, stepped in and tried to separate the girls, but as he did so, he was mistakenly stabbed with the knife. Bella stood frozen as the reality of what had just happened settled in. James lay on the ground, clutching his side where Bella had accidentally stabbed him, his breathing shallow but steady. Bella and Stella were twins with extreme beauty and charm. Unlike other beautiful girls in the town, they were born with magnificent beauty and white hair. Their white hair made them even much more attractive to anyone who came across them in the city. Before they were born, their parents, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, were without a child for 12 years. They were very wealthy and well-to-do in the town, but they couldn't get the one thing they wanted, which was a child. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson went to see the best doctors in the town. At one point, they even flew overseas, but the doctors kept telling them the same thing. "You both are fine. You will have a baby soon." Mr. and Mrs. Johnson eventually waited since there was nothing they could do. As fate would have it, Mr. Johnson soon found out that her wife was pregnant. When it was time to deliver her baby, like a divine miracle, Mrs. Johnson gave birth to twins with white hair. The doctors were surprised at this rare phenomena. They couldn't explain how this was possible. Soon news spread all over town about the twins who were born with white hair. Crowd came over to see the beautiful identical twin babies that was born with white hair. When asked how come her babies had white hair, Mrs. Johnson responded that even she couldn't explain it. Mrs. Johnson named her children Bella and Stella. At a tender age, the twins played together. They would eat snacks, lick ice cream, and even play with toys together. They were practically best friends and sisters. However, everything changed when the twins started school. It turned out that Bella was not only beautiful but was also a genius. At a young age, Bella would answer questions that her teachers did not expect her to know. She was able to solve mathematical problems that was beyond her age. This made her to be loved by her teachers and to get more recognition in school. On the other hand, Stella at a young age could see how exceptional her sister was. She would hide in the toilet and sometimes cry alone. Stella, who wanted to be just like her sister, would take her notes to read, but no matter how hard she tried, she realized that there was no way she could be like her sister. It was as though there was a force that was not allowing her to understand her books properly. Things only got worse when the twins got to secondary school. Stella, after realizing that she couldn't be like her sister, decided to make her sister's life miserable. She also stopped trying to be like her Bella and became stubborn and rebellious. Since Bella was the beautiful and intelligent one, she had the attention of boys more. This also made her more popular in school. One school day, a handsome new student came to the school. His name was James. James was tall, handsome, and had a smile that made the heart of the female students in his class to melt. On his first day, the teacher told him to introduce himself. "Good day, class. My name is James. I'm a new student and going to be a part of this class. I hope everyone gets along with me," he said. The girls in the class' eyes were fixated on him, including Bella. During break time, while Bella and her friends were discussing, Bella confessed that she liked the new boy, James. "I don't know, but I think there's something special about him," Bella said to her friends. They all giggled and laughed. Meanwhile, Stella was close by and could overhear her twin sister conversation with her friends. Stella wasn't particularly interested in James, but she came up with a plan to be with him just to make her sister angry. The next day, while Bella was reading alone in the classroom during break hours, Gina, her best friend, approached. "Hey Bella," Gina called. "I'm fine. Is anything the problem?" Bella asked, curious. "It depends," Gina replied. "We know you like the new student, James. But I just saw your sister talking and playing with him outside. I just came over to tell you." As soon as Bella heard this, she was furious. She went over to check and she realized that Gina told her was true. "Maybe she likes him," Gina said to her friend. "She doesn't like him. She's doing this to get me mad. She always do this," Bella said. Later that evening, while they were eating lunch, Bella brought up the topic of James. Stella replied casually, "Oh, James, he's a sweet boy. We were just chatting. Or do I still need your permission to talk with the most handsome boy in school?" Stella responded. Bella was furious. She knew that her sister always did this. "What's your problem? Why can't you just live your life and let me live mine?" Bella shouted at her twin sister. The twins got into a heavy argument. The argument was about to get into a fight when their mother interrupted. "Are you both stupid? How can you be fighting over a boy? You both are sisters and should know better," Mrs. Johnson shouted at her daughters. The next day at school, Bella was all by herself in the class during break. She was upset about the fight with her twin sister the previous day, and so she didn't read or go out to play. All of a sudden, James, the boy she had a crush on, approached her at her seat. Bella didn't even give James the space to talk. "Please, I don't want to talk to you. I'm Bella, by the way. If you are looking for my sister, you can check elsewhere," Bella spoke. "Oh, I'm sorry, but I actually came to talk to you," James said. James then confessed to Bella that he liked her. He apologized and told her that he was new and so he wasn't able to tell her apart from her sister. "I actually wanted to talk to you yesterday, not your sister. I'm new, so I couldn't tell you both apart. I hope you can forgive me," James said. He then brought out a flower and gave it to Bella. "It's fine," Bella responded. "Most people know I and my sister their whole life and still can't differentiate us," Bella said. The both of them then laughed. As time went on, Bella and James began to talk about different topics. After that time, Bella and James became close and started dating. One day at school, when Bella was in class alone with James, Bella tells James that they should have a code word so that he would always be able to tell her apart from her sister. If you feel that's a good idea, I don't mind. James said. Bella tells James that the word should be pineapple. Unknown to Bella, however, her twin sister Stella had been spying on her occasionally, and she had also overheard their secret word. A few days later, Stella meets up with James and told him he should come with her to her house after school. Stella knew that her twin sister Bella had extra school activities that day, so she planned to take advantage of the situation. Stella had planned to sleep with James, believing that the hold her twin sister had on him would break. James found it a bit strange that Bella would want to invite him over. It didn't seem like something she would say out of the blue. However, when Stella made mention of the secret word he and Bella informed, he was convinced that she was the one. So he followed her home. That very day, Bella had a lot of extra school activities. She was the star student of the school, so she was always counted on to do many things. Due to this, she lost track of the fact that James was nowhere to be, and so was her sister. That afternoon, when Bella arrived home, she could tell something was fishy. She could hear conversations, and she knew definitely that her mother was not at home. As Bella walked into the bedroom, she saw the most surprising sight. There was her identical twin sister, Stella, in bed with her new boyfriend, James. As James saw her, he was very shocked. He immediately knew he had been tricked. On the other hand, Bella was very angry. "What are you doing with my boyfriend?" she demanded. Stella too was surprised. She wasn't expecting Bella to be home so soon. This unexpected return had ruined her plans. Bella and Stella got into a very serious argument, as Bella was tired of Stella meddling in her life and trying to steal her happiness. "Didn't I warn you to stay away from him? What the hell are you trying to do?" Bella demanded, her voice angry and sharp. "Why must he be yours? Who made it so that you can have him? I like him too." Stella shot back at her sister. In a fit of rage, Bella picked up a knife that was just laying on the table and tried to warn Stella. Stella would not back down. James, seeing the whole drama, stepped in and tried to separate the girls, but as he did so, he was mistakenly stabbed with the knife. Bella stood frozen as the reality of what had just happened settled in. James lay on the ground, clutching his side where Bella had accidentally stabbed him, his breathing shallow but steady. Just then their mother, Mrs. Johnson, came home. She was shocked at the sight before her. However, she knew it was not the time to argue. Without a word, she carefully helped James up and took him to the hospital, leaving Bella and Stella behind in stunned silence. Later, at the hospital, Bella went to visit James, her heart heavy with guilt. She approached his bed, her eyes filled with remorse. "James, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen," she whispered. James reached out, managing a small smile despite the pain. "Bella, I know it was an accident. I could see you were upset, and I just wanted to stop the fighting. I still care about you." Relief washed over Bella. Hearing his forgiveness eased her guilt, and as they sat together, James held her hand, reassuring her of his love. A few days later, Stella came to see James as well. She stood by his bedside, her expression a mix of anger, regret, and desperation. "James, I have to tell you something," she began. "I've liked you since I first saw you, and I tried to be what you wanted. But you chose Bella. Why?" James looked at her, calm and kind. "Stella, you're an amazing person. But my heart belongs to Bella. I see the good in you, too, and I hope you can find someone who loves you just as much." His words were gentle but clear. At the hospital, James' mother had come to visit him. She had been called on the phone by Bella and Stella's mother, Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Johnson told James' mother the name of the hospital she had admitted her son in. As soon as James' mother got the information, she arrived. As James' mother was very angry at what had happened to her son James, she knew it wasn't the time to shout. In the meantime, James reassured his mother that what had happened was an accident and that it was just a mistake. James' mother was still not satisfied. She didn't even want James to be close to either of the twin sisters anymore. "You would have been in serious trouble. It was a miracle that saved you," James' mother said. "Don't worry, Mom, I'm fine. I promise you everything will be settled once and for all," James promised his mother. Meanwhile, while James was still recovering in the hospital, something else was going through Stella's mind at home. Stella was thinking heavily about the words James had told her at the hospital. How he preferred her sister over her. The truth was that Stella was not over her jealousy. She remembered when she and her sister were little and all the things Bella got that she didn't. In a final act of desperation, Stella decided that she was going to finally put an end to her twin sister, Bella, once and for all. She was going to poison her sister and then become the golden child. Stella went out to purchase poison at a store. She then came home and poured it inside the milk that Bella was supposed to take to school. She knew that once Bella drank the milk, she was not going to survive it. She would die. Stella also believed that once her sister was gone, James would have no choice and would want to be with her instead. That very night, the most strangest thing happened. Bella could hardly sleep in the night. She decided to wake up and drink water. However, she felt something wasn't right. She could overhear some noises, and this time, it wasn't coming from her twin sister room, Stella. It was coming from her own mother's room. Stella tiptoed and opened the door of her mother's room to find out what was going on. To her surprise, she saw the most shocking sight. She saw her mother kneeling down talking to a beautiful woman who had white hair and white cloth. Bella was confused. It seemed as though her mother was begging the strange woman that was on white. Bella could not hear them properly, but the scene was still shocking to her. All her life, she hadn't witnessed something like this. What was her mother doing with someone like that in the middle of the night, and why did this woman look strange? What was their mother actually hiding? Bella made up her mind that she needed to get to the bottom of it. Meanwhile, she didn't know that the next day was going to be her last day to live, as her twin sister had already poisoned her milk that she was going to drink. What do you think is going to happen next in this story? Tell us in the comment section and wait for the next part. Till we meet again.